Hello. Today I am making this video on some very intriguing topics which have always been on my mind, probably yours too, such as, is there a God? Are religions needed in our life? What religion is true? Which one is the best? Which God is true? Which one is the best? Who should we follow? Which God should we pray to? Who am I? Where have I come from? Why was I born? When will I die? Why will I die? What happens to me after I die? What was I before I was born? Is the concept of soul real? Does soul die? Do we change bodies? There are so many more questions. These questions are very, very deep and very confusing. If you look into answers, you can't find any. There are no real answers. A lot of people and religious gurus claim that they do have answers, but there is no solid proof that can prove all these. You can find a lot of videos, images, text, or scriptures to prove these, but can we believe those? Do they provide real answers? No, not really. I have done so much research on these topics, but so far I have not found anything believable, but only very little information that is very little convincing. I'd like to share my views with you and would love to find out your views. You're more than welcome to share your views, what you think, in the comments. I belong to an Indian Hindu family, so being a Hindu, I believe in Hindu gods and astrology. Let's not talk about gods yet, but let's just explore astrology a bit more, okay? Because that will probably lead us to further questions or maybe some answers. I did not believe in astrology at the beginning, but after experiencing it myself in my own life, I started believing in it and I became a very strong believer. I have seen a lot of ups and downs in my life. Some of my a lot of experiences in my life have been really bad and good. Some of my friends belong to very religious families, and during my bad times they've always advised me to go and see astrologers to find out why is this happening, what is going to happen, and so on. I never really believed them, but somewhere because of my religion I wasn't denying it, but I just didn't believe it either, if you know what I mean. I used to be a very successful businessman, and I used to have really good, let's say, financial status in society. I had a good house, good business, good cars, very, lavish lifestyle I was having. And let's say I wasn't super rich, but I was rich enough to get whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, spend money on luxury items, having good holidays. So more or less I had a very luxury life. Then what happened, I started having problem in my marriage life, and my friends actually advised me to go see an astrologer to see if there is any solution to make my family life, my marriage life, any smoother. Because I have two kids, and for the sake of two kids, I wanted to keep the family united. I didn't want to be separated. I didn't want to have a family which is broken, so kids either have mother or their father. I wanted them to have both. That is best for the kids, but it wasn't working, so I went to see an astrologer. When I went to see the astrologer, I was successful financially, and this astrologer asked me only a few things. He only asked me my place of birth, my date of birth, and my exact time of birth. And when you're actually born in a Hindu family and they are strong believer in astrology, they always note down the time and date and place exactly. They make a record of it, because this helps them into the life. When you're getting married or when you're doing anything, then you go to a pandit. Pandit is like an astrologer or Brahmin, which tells you, okay, you need to do this or you need to do that or blah blah blah. That's a separate detailed topic. We'll not go into that. So I gave this astrologer all these three things about me: my time, my date, and my place of birth. Now, by giving these three things to him, he did some calculations on the paper, which was weird calculations. I did not understand those at that time, but I knew that he was making basically a Janam Kundali. Janam Kundali is like a chart which is made up of 9 planets. There are 9 planets as per Hindu astrology, which calculates and tells you about your future. They basically describe your future, what you are going through, what you have gone through, what you will go through, what your marriage life will be, how your financially how solid you will be, what education you'll receive, or will you live in your country or outside of your country, or will you have a lavish lifestyle, or you'll have a normal lifestyle. They tell you everything. And now this astrologer, by taking these three things, the first thing he asked me, he goes, are you struggling financially? I said, absolutely not. I am not struggling financially. At that time, I was very successful. I was so successful that I always had a lot of cash on me. My bank balance was full. I had a lot of properties. I had a lot of cars. I had big houses. I had even my bank lockers were full of cash. Let me tell you this, I had so much cash that I had bank lockers in different banks, and they were all full with £50 notes. I had so much money. I was really successful. I wasn't doing anything illegal, but trust me, yes, I was trying to save as much as I can, making maximizing profits. I had really good brains. But when this astrologer said to me, "Oh, are you struggling financially?" I simply in my mind I said, "Oh, this is just waste of time. He can't tell me anything. He just got the first thing very wrong." And I said, "No, I am really rich and I'm very well to do." So he said, "Okay, you won't be for long." And that made me angry. I mean, somebody's telling you you will not stay rich, you will lose everything, and obviously you are gonna get angry and annoyed. But I didn't really say anything to him. I said, I just didn't think anything of it. And then next question he asked me, "Are you married?" I said yes. Then he asked me again, "Are you still married?" I said, "Bloody hell, of course I'm still married, yes." He goes, "You will not be." And now again, it got me angry. I went to this astrologer thinking, okay, to find some solutions. He was giving me more problems. He was telling me about more problems. So I was angry at that point, but I didn't say nothing at that time, because out of respect of my friends who took me to him, I just stayed there quietly and kept listening. Now he said, "Even if you're rich at the moment, you will not be. You will lose all your monies, all your properties. You will have everything gone with your own hands." I kept listening. Then he goes, "Your marriage life will be very, very disturbed. You will be separated from your kids." And basically, he was telling me my life is, my coming life is not going to be good. So I didn't think anything, and I actually left. And he actually told me some remedies, but I made notes of those, but I didn't really do whatever he said to me. I just left, and that's it. That was the end of it at that time. And within 2-3 months, oh yes, what he said to me, "Your downfall will start after you lose a bit of gold." That I was going to lose some gold, and that will be the start of my downfall. And about 2 months time, that happened. That actually happened. Um, my son, he had a locket, and it was lost. My son was only 1 year old at that time. He was wearing a locket, and that locket was just lost. We didn't know where, how did we lose it. He was too young to tell us anything about it. He didn't probably even know something's missing. He was only 1 year old. um, and that's it. That was it. I didn't think anything of it at that time as well. I thought, okay, it's just probably a coincidence that I've lost this. And we just carried on with our lives, no problem. It was just a minor loss at that time. I went back to England. I actually, visited India, where I met this astrologer, and then with all of my family, I went back to England and carried on with our business and all, our normal life. A couple of months later, um, my I had some arguments with my wife, ex-wife now. Um, we argued, and it got to a point where I said, I can't carry on with this, and I had to move out. I started living separately, and that was the start of my, bit more bad luck. And what happened that we started living separately. I wasn't able to see my kids every day. I was only seeing them on 2 days or 3 days max in a week. That actually, I'm a very emotional man, and that I was quite upset about it. Because of that, I started losing concentration and focus on my business. I started losing that, and within a few months, I had to sell my business. One of my partners, I had a business partner, he pulled out. When he pulled out, I couldn't really keep up, and I had to sell it. Before I sold it, I went into a bit of loss, which was okay. I didn't really, it didn't really bother me much, to be honest, at that time, because I still thought, okay, I have a lot of savings, I'll start something new and then start from scratch and we'll build up. But at the same time, I had my family issues going on, and I was quite upset and depressed all the time due to not being able to see kids all the time. I was worried about their future because my ex-wife, she wasn't, she wasn't as, let's say, educated as how much I was. I could have given a better future to my kids if they were with me full time. I could have taught a lot of things to them, good education, basically do the home teaching as well, really good. And she wasn't able to do that. She probably don't even know a table of two. That's how bad she was. Now, she had full-time care of my children, and I was worried about them all the time. Now, because of my continuous losses in business, I sold my business, and then after a few months, I started something new. Didn't work, lost a bit more of money. Then I had to move back to India for a bit. When I moved back to India, I broke contact with my kids. I didn't break contact. She actually broke contact. She wouldn't answer my calls, nothing, because she was in England. She knew I can't do anything because I'm in India at that time. And she moved houses, and she changed her address, changed her phone numbers, and blocked me everywhere. I couldn't really get in touch. That made me very, very upset and a bit more depressed. And times were getting worse and worse and worse, and I had to sell my properties. I had to sell everything. Let's cut long story short, that I was in a lot of debt within 2 years' time. I was in so much debt that I can't explain. Anyways, so this all made me believe in astrology, because everything happened how this astrologer said to me. So obviously I went back to him now to see what, how to solve the situation. I went to him, and he told me do this, do that. He told me a few remedies, and I did whatever he said. And some of them, sometime it seemed to me that it's working. Sometime it seemed to me it didn't work. Why? I thought it didn't work is because my situation wasn't getting any good. But when I went back to astrologers, they all said to me, it is working. It is working. Otherwise, the situation would have been far more worse. Now, they may be right. They may be wrong. We don't know, because something which hasn't happened, we cannot confirm if it's true or wrong. If it's true or false, we cannot confirm that. So it was very difficult to come to a conclusion that their remedies work. But sometimes I actually believe they work, because, for example, I needed money at a point very, very desperately, and one of my properties I had put up on sale and it wasn't selling. And it wasn't selling. I had gone to all the estate agents, all the property dealers, all of them. They were trying, but there was no buyer. If there was a buyer, they would come visit and they would say, okay, we're not interested. I mean, it was a very prime location, was very good, there was nothing wrong with it. Absolutely a very hot spot. But it wasn't selling. A property was worth about, say, 50 million rupees, which is in Indian money, it's called 5 crore rupees. I had put it up on sale at half price, and I wasn't even getting that. So I went to one of these astrologer, told him about this problem, that I needed money, and just look at your stars and whatever, and tell me when will I be able to get the money. He goes, there is sorry. He said to me, okay, you will need to do a few things, and your property will be sold, but it'll be sold at a very less price, probably at a third fraction of the total price. And I didn't tell him which property is it or blah, nothing, no details given to him about property. He said to me, whatever it is, it'll be sold at the third fraction. And he said to me to do a couple of things. I did that, and within 4 days, this property sold. It was sold at what he said, at about actually the 30% of its value, which was shocking that he told me exactly what is going to happen. So I believed some of the remedies worked, but still can't believe, because my situation wasn't getting any better. That was the whole point of going to them and doing those remedies, but it wasn't getting any better. But what they were saying is it could have been far more worse. So you're better off. I said, okay, fine, I believe you. There was no other option. Now, the whole point of me telling you about this astrology, of my own experience, is that astrology plays a very important role in our lives. In astrology, what do they look at? They look at basically the position of the stars, movement of the stars, your time of birth, your place of birth, your date of birth. And with all this information, they calculate what is going to happen. They cannot tell you, like, in the evening you'll be eating or what you will be eating or drinking. No, that's just rubbish. Okay, if somebody does that. But what they can tell you is what your future will be like, what your marriage life will be like, what studies are you going to get, what where will you be living? You will be living close to your home or far away from home. Will you be what sort of features you're going to have physically, how they can tell you things about like these. I mean, because sometimes what people joke about, they say, oh, tell me what I'll be wearing tomorrow, or what is, what are the lucky numbers in the lottery for tomorrow. That is just not possible. Okay, that's not how this works. And these stars, they don't make our future. okay, they only describe our future. That's very important to know. They do not make our future. Our stars do not make our future. They only describe our future, because our future has already been decided before we were born. And who decided this? We did. We ourselves decided our future. How did we do that? I do not know 100%, but I can tell you this much, that our karmas, that decide our future. Okay. The second thing, the souls connected to us, related to us, that decide our future as well. What sort of people we interact with. We mean to say, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your fiance, your partner, life partner, your friends, your relatives, all these people around you, they're actually those souls you knew before you were born. You actually decided to be born around them and to have a life around them. So all of their things impact on your life, and yours impact on their life. So collectively, we all chose to be like this. now, now, in as per Hindu astrology, there are 9 stars. Okay, there are 9 stars which play important roles in our lives. We've concluded that so far. Now, these stars